I can't remember, but yeah, I met him there, and you know, we struck a conversation. I took him out to lunch, and then he showed me these chips, and I knew at that point we kind of explained some thermal chips, and then we did some demos for the fuel chips, and at that I was not leaving without them. So I bought like a 20 of them from him right there on the spot. And we began to form a relationship, and so I was just really amazed by it. It got to the point that maybe a year and a half later after that, I was working for a major automotive company here in Ohio, a big company, 6th largest automotive company in North America. And I told my plant manager about it, and he was so convinced I got pretty good credibility. He said, "Well, if it can do all that, I want you to bring him here. Maybe he can help us out."
Well, tell me what it does. Give me your firsthand experience. I mean, Iridium is advertised with us now, and give us what your experience of
tell us all about it. Still happened to this day. If you take this chip and put the frequencies inside this chip, and it uses this new quantum technology, but you just put it, it's the size of a postage stamp, and there's a technology available where you can actually now put frequencies in there. And what it does is he discovered, and he wasn't the only one. There were other scientists that worked on it a little bit before him, but he kind of perfected the final frequencies. But he removes as the anti-frequency basically for all of the toxins and pollutants that are contained in fuel. And by basically embedding, in layman terms, embedding the inverse frequency, say for carbon monoxide. If it's got a frequency of say 146 hertz, you embed a frequency of a negative 146 hertz, and you cancel it out, and you just have.
And this is in a holographic label. It's like a holographic stamp. That's the technology, right?
That is, and you use the holograms actually to project it. And I think even at that point, several years ago, when I first met Thunder, we were playing around with it. It only would project a 9-inch field, so you actually had to have that chip, either taped to your gas tank or within 6 to 9 inches of your gas tank in order to protect it. I know he's progressed a long way now, and now we can project up to a 10-foot field. So basically, and what it does is it not only does it eliminate the toxins and pollutions that are contained in fuel, and actually the effects are almost immediate. Not immediate. Within 3 minutes, you can see the difference. You can smell the difference just by looking at your fuel and smelling at the fuel. And within 3 minutes of applying this technology to your fuel tank, instead of nasty, stinky vapors coming out of your exhaust pipe, it just turns into clear, just clear air and water vapor leaking. That's the only emission. Actually, I know we had problems getting it tested with the EPA. They didn't want to pass it because there were no emissions to be measured. So they didn't want it on the road. And there's some controversy involved with it, but it simply works, and for people that are in favor of a cleaner environment, and that's what the scientists behind it. And that was Thunder's intent. We're not trying to make a whole lot of money or trying to save people fuel costs, but that's just an instant byproduct. You're going to probably save 10 to 20% of your fuel economy, because basically you're burning like pure fuel. If you're putting in 87% grade fuel, well, by the time it treats your fuel and it's going through your carburetors and it combusts at the level that it does, you're actually you're burning a higher grade of fuel without having to pay for it, and you get better fuel economy as a result of it. And if you can go take it to a EPA and have your exhaust tested before and after, and he's done dozens of tests, and it's just obvious. I mean, you see it and smell it, but there's a way to chemically or scientifically measure it. It just works.
I put one on my car. I've got a hybrid, and I put one on my car, and we had a tester right there, and it was amazing. I mean, we had to get underneath the car and sort of take this thing to, I don't know if it was the exhaust pipe or the actual muffler, and we had one of those carbon dioxide checks, basically a smog check, right there, and it cut the ratio by some crazy degree, like 60% or something. We just went down on it. So it's really stupendous stuff. So anyway, so
more than that, even more than that, we brought it into our plant, and we've got like maybe 40 forklifts running around, and they're all running on propane. If you put one of these chips on a propane tank, actually, we measured it. We tested it for 14 days of running the forklifts 24 hours around the clock. This technology really likes propane, because actually our fuel efficiencies were we saved between 27 to 43% on propane fuel. Yeah.
Wow.
Had my engineer walking around, and then literally, without being vulgar, he scratched his head and he said, WTF. I'm serious.
Well, we're advertising these on the on the network and on the program, and it's stuff that works. It's holographic technology. It really is the future. A lot of this stuff too was coming from them taking simple water and infusing the water with a holographic engram and creating drugs actually for out of water. And of course this got shut down because you put the entire pharmaceutical industry out, which is and of course they spent billions on advertising for for diseases you've never heard of and treatments that you can't pronounce. So it's funny when I watch these ads on the TV, which is like deafness, blindness, anal leakage, and death are side effects. And I would think that death would probably be more than the side effect; it would be the end result. But go ahead, Darrell. Sorry.
Looking forward to the future because actually the same technology that we can do that with fuel. And now I think Gary, I don't think Thunder would mind me mentioning it, but the same can be applied to medications and prescription medications to where if somebody's got some type of a disease, you can actually isolate the frequency for it and put the same inverse frequency inside of a hologram. And now and he's got this, where now you can put a glass of water on top of a disc that's got the hologram in it, and it puts that frequency in the water. You drink your water, and there's your medication. You don't have to go see a doctor.
Well, that's the basis of homeopathy. Well, of course, there were so many more people that were involved in. There were as many homeopathy doctors, and of course, allopathy, which is the application of drugs, won because the pharmaceutical companies were able to basically fund all medical schools and provide them with scholarships, and so they just took over. Whereas more people were using homeopathy, where the whole concept was you just want a trace element of less being more. And they still sell some homeopathy. If you're starting to get a cold, they sell something called, I can never pronounce it, but it's acycilium, I think is what it's called. And it's just these little grains, these little almost like sugar beads that you put underneath your tongue, and it's supposed to stave off flu. There's another powder which is called Pro Boost, which is actually called Thymic A, which is one of the best things out there that I talked about in my lecture that you guys saw, my life hack lecture of how to stay well. So, well, thank you for giving us that, because once again, Holidium is advertising on our network, yes, and Thunder has been a great friend and a great supporter, and he's in Austin now, I think, and he's doing great. I think he just sold he just came up with like $25,000 worth of sales, and this was just in the last few days. So he's cranking up with Holidium distributors, and of course you can get it. Just listen to the adverts on this program, and as I said, it's a real deal. Yeah, it is a real deal, and it cuts your emissions. It is reported to save on gasoline and cut emissions and make the world in generally a better place. And I know he's got other applications for it, but
I could tell you stories.
Well, tell me a story.
Well, I'll give you one example.
Okay.
He got here, it was sometime, I think, in mid-July. And it's hot here in Ohio in July. So that day, he stayed here with me. He stayed at my house for 3 days. So the next morning after we just kicking it in my backyard, he was singing. He can sing. He likes to sing. But we went to the plant, and it was like 93 degrees when we got there. We took a thermal reading right outside my HR manager's window in the outdoors. His windows was reading at 106 degrees, something like that. So we went inside and we took some more temperature readings using laser thermals. We walked into our cafeteria, and our air vents were blowing. The temperature for the air vents was like 68 degrees, and we tested like three of the vents, and that's as cool as we could make it. They were cranked all the way up, but it's hot, and this is a pretty large size cafeteria. So he takes one of the chips. We call it the thermal chip. And they have a program in there where you can kind of tell it where you want it to normalize at. So, and again, we got a small entourage there. My plant managers there, our engineers and other people, everybody's dying to see Thunder in this technology. So we give him a ladder, and he goes up and he puts one chip on just one of the metal vents. And we're standing there with the thermal laser, still reading the temperature. In less than 60 seconds, the temperature started dropping. In less than 2 minutes, it went from 63 degrees to 42 degrees.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, which means now we don't have to burn as much electricity to try to cool the plant because it normalizes a lot earlier. Because what he did with that particular chip, he embeds the frequency for gold into it. And with gold being the best conductor of electricity, everything's operating at optimum efficiency. And really, literally, at this point, I swear to God, our best engineer, and I call this guy Albert Einstein because he's just that brilliant. But he looked at that, he said, "What the fuck?" And he walked away.
Can't be cursing. All right, Darrell and Rochelle, I want to say thank you for joining me. Give us your details for your show. Give us your website, details for your show.
www.truecatradio. It's the Darrell Show. We are on Tuesdays from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much.
Okay, man. Pleasure having both of you. All the well. Thanks. Be blessed. Rochelle, big kiss to you. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Bye. Thanks, Sean.
All right. We'll be back with more stuff on Strange Universe Radio after this.
Well, it sounds like I'm going to have to do a Darrell Nichols interview. That would be quite an interesting interview. Let's see if in just a moment we get another ad punch.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
And